Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program RP-0. This is our Twitch recap from last week's Twitch live show, in which we were doing further drop testing of our prototype Mars surface base / lab. Wasn't much to do in the VAB initially. I did make a few changes, including engine and tank types, but we'll get straight onto the testing. So here's the live show. We'll just wait for this to figure out where we are. There we go. Ta-da! Mars. Alright. Step 1. Establish that these 2 solar panels are enough to supply the base. It's our electric charge. -2 something. Where's the sun? Yeah, let's roll in an appropriate direction. See if maybe. It'd be really cool if I didn't need more solar panels than these 2. You're alone here? Like in your house alone? Is there a torque wheel on here that keeps throwing off that charge rate? Because that's real weird. Oh, come on. Let me click on the panel. Exposure at 1, exposure at 1. So this is the most power we're going to get. Still not charging. Well, that's nice. I don't know where the stream gang is. I mean, it could be most of the other Europeans are asleep. Alright, we're just going to try to land anywhere, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit retrograde and bring this thing on in, because that's the important part. We'll lock the brakes under things. I guess we are carrying about 1.5 tons extra. I brought the supply pod. We'll see how well that works. Isbang! Good to see you. We're glad you're here. Always a plus. We got lots of battery. That's good. Scorpio, howdy. Alright, and arm shoots. Cool. I should probably stage in the engines, all like 50,000 of them. Alright, we're going to go for a really high periapsis. Frame rate destroying engine light. We'll see how well this goes. TWR is .73. That's actually not terrible, all things considered. We may yet pull this off. I doubt it. This is my absolute first run of actually trying to do anything with this, and I can't even keep it on the retrograde vector. Cogwhistle, thanks for the follow. Hope I got that name right. Yes. I'm pretty sure I did. Oh, see? Look at what you've done now. That is entirely too low for this to be an accurate test. Oh, how easily distracted I am. So we'll just, we'll spend more fuel. No big deal. Want to bring that up ideally to about 50 or 60 kilometer. Man, that was dumb. Alright, we'll go with 57. That'll be good, right? Yes, they are Astros 2 engines. A lot of them. A lot. Landing prep. Yes. In lieu of landing gear, I have opted to use airbags. and lots of them, mostly for form function. See how well this stupid plan works out. And if this is even a tenable idea, although it's like getting to the point where I've worked on it for so long now that I'm willing to brute force this thing to work. But considering we don't even have a launch vehicle to get it here yet, it's going to be interesting. Alright, chutes are armed, airbags are out. We've got nothing else to do except coast until we're in the atmosphere. Let's pick up all the speed. Yeah, I actually should have not adjusted my angle quite so much, but no big deal. We'll get there. So do we want to take the over-under on how hard this hits the ground? Will it be transonic or just supersonic? Ultrasonic, maybe? Atomic launcher? That's probably what we're going to have to do with it, to be honest. Man, getting... Nimin, good to see you. Thanks for coming out. I wonder exactly how much liquid hydrogen we're going to have to stack under this thing, and how much oomph that's going to take to get to orbit. We may be looking at like a nuclear core stage with like 2 DN6s strapped to each side to go extra Kerbal. A little late and sleepy. It's good to be back, Nimin. Thank you. I'm very excited to be back. It seems like I've been gone forever, but I missed you guys. That's all it is. All right, 124. We are, yeah, we are in the atmosphere. Okay, so we're just gonna maybe hold this angle for a while. Hopefully, maybe. I doubt it. We'll see how well that works. And then we just have to magically guess the appropriate altitude at which to light these engines and do our 8 minutes of burn. I'm going to guess it's actually going to be pretty high up. 65, 75 kilometers maybe, because it's going to take us a long time to slow down. Basically, if we get within the range where our chutes can deploy, we'll be okay, maybe. Could dock different pieces of the base together in low Earth orbit. I have thought about that, but the way it's kind of constructed, there isn't really, I mean, other than docking the ascent stage to the base itself, that doesn't really save us a whole lot of mass. So I actually thought about topping up all the Aerozine fuel and some of the life support in orbit of Mars through one of the resupply pods, like what we deploy to Harmonia. And basically giving it enough life support to get to Mars and get in orbit, and then topping off the life support and all the fuel for the descent itself could be supplied on orbit. Maybe. That was one idea I was kind of toying with. Send it up unfueled, dock a transfer stage in a separate launch. Yeah, I think that's might be where we're headed with it. Is basically put a big nuclear tug stage on this end, push it to Mars, and maybe if there's any oomph left in it, we can use it to kind of slow ourselves down a little bit before we hit Atmo. Well, lots of fuel will be in Mars orbit. I don't know how much that Artemis is going to take of that to get home, but it might not be even enough. Even the real nuclear propulsion was almost a real deal. This feels somewhat cheaty to you? What about this feels cheaty? I mean, other than the excessive use of part clipping. or just trying to do a single launch drop base onto Mars. Alright, we're gonna come out of time warp and give this another... Oh, we're at 82 actual, so yeah, time to light the engines and hold retrograde. And hope this works. Very rough approximations. Payload to orbit, or payload to Mars is 25% of your low Earth orbit payload. I mean, that might be a little generous. Even, I'd say, 20% might be pushing it, really. The DN6B can pretty reliably throw about 100 tons to Mars, and it's a little, I don't know, it's right around 500 tons, including the fully fueled B upper stage to low Earth orbit. I'd say 25% would be pretty good. That's quite reactive. I guess a big ring of 3% gimbal range will give you authority to do that. That's not bad. Okay, 3,200 meters per second. We got a caution on a couple of chutes. I wonder if this is not a bad altitude to deploy a drag chute or a drogue chute. I don't think nukes and RSS RO feel particularly cheaty. You unlock them late, they're pretty low thrust, heavy, expensive, etc. Yeah, that's really why I haven't used the Nerva, at least the Nerva 1, because it weighs like 9 tons. And putting a big enough tank of fuel on top of it to get any real use out of it is, I don't know, the last time I messed with it was before even the DN series, so I haven't gone back to look. But after seeing Cat Blue Flame stream last week, the Nerva 2, I think we actually might get some good use out of that. I'm willing to give it a try, especially because she put all that effort into making the thing. You'll probably use UDMH to go to Sedna. I really want to see that. I hope you do something with that. Seriously. Oh yeah, the Nervas were definitely tested. And yeah, in the 60s. The Soviets even built one. I'm not sure if they fired theirs, but we did do successful ground tests here in the States. I mean, yeah, I can understand why they didn't use it. It's just one of those things, if the launcher blows up and you detonate a reactor in the atmosphere, it's just generally not fun. But these are Kerbals. They can stay in Mars orbit for 5 years and suffer no ill effects. Alright, 3 kilometers per second. Well, at least we're slowing down. Even if we are descending, we're only at 77 kilometers. So, you know, maybe. It's weird to think that Nervas are pretty old-fashioned tech. I mean, yeah, a little bit, but I don't know, when you just break down to the core, we're just gonna dump fuel across a reactor. Like, that's... I don't know, it seems... I mean, simple, but also archaic and almost comically stupid. But it worked, and I guess that was the point. That's Kerbal abuse. My Kerbals have never been abused. They've just fallen down some stairs. You really like Zubrin's nuclear saltwater rocket concept? I have not heard of that. That might require a link. I mean, or you could tell us about it, or both, whichever. Alright, 77 kilometers. 2.8 kilometers per second. Yeah, we are falling kind of quick. We probably need to shed about 800 more meters per second, at least. Oh, we're going up? Oops. That was a mistake. Okay, this is not the best test run. She fell down some stairs. Okay, yeah, probably not funny, but yes, I did do that. Or rather, she did that. She was flying, not me. Okay, we're done here. How's it going, Wookie? Good to see you. Thanks for coming out. I was about to say maybe I should cut the engines until we start descending again, but now we're descending again. Well, it's nice to know that I have the authority to pitch up if I need to. It should be kind of awesome if we had to perform a mid-descent abort, although I doubt it would be very successful at this kind of angle and speed. Pulsified, how's it going? Awesome, thanks for the wiki link, Niman. Copy paste for Cosmo. Or dictation. That'd be nice too. Wants to read me a story. Okay, sorry. 2,600 meters per second. Maybe I should try to go up. Because then we can just use that to decelerate us, and then maybe I could spend less fuel. Nah, we're falling pretty quick now. Alright. I think we're just going to give this a run through. Maybe I'll cut the engines at 400 some odd meters per second. I don't know, I could probably run them all the way through. Maybe get it down to 50 meters per second. We could just use that for a suicide burn right above the surface. Although, does anybody remember how hard we hit the ground in one of the Earth tests? Where, like, the lab survived, but it blew up a bunch of engines? Or it wouldn't be good. I doubt you'd be coplanar. Plus, the crew would place a large drain on Harmonia supplies. True that. I guess the goal is, since this can ferry 4, we're going to also send a Perseus out at the same time with 2 crew. And that Perseus will go to Harmonia Station and basically wait for them, and so that when these guys are ready to leave the surface, they'll take off, they'll go dock at Harmonia Station, all 6 of them, and then we'll board the Perseus and come home at the appropriate window. So hopefully we'll have enough life support on hand to get all 6 through to the next window if the mission should fail. But again, we'll see how well that goes. Is there a way to safely ditch the rovers if I had to do an abort? I mean, I suppose we could decouple them. This one will just decouple at the nose and fly right off. We could probably... no? We'd have to decouple it in order to move it out of the way. But hopefully, if we were traveling straight retrograde, we'd decouple this and it would just fall away. Although that doesn't really buy us too many favors. They don't weigh a whole lot. Yeah, landing this thing with a crew on it is kind of nuts, but trying to land it and then trying to get a crew to it, at least at my skill level, is pretty impossible. And yeah, it's a little cheaper to do it. Fewer launches, etc., etc. Alright, all shoots still showing yellow. We are also very, very high up, so maybe we'll can this for a second. Now, do we pick up speed? Yep, we are gaining speed. Probably should not have gained altitude. Dang it. Alright, so let's see if we can't saucer pan this a little bit. You only just now noticed the big ring of airbags. Yes, that is our landing gear, as they have a pretty high impact tolerance. And hopefully with these tanks empty when we hit the dirt, if they blow up, they don't matter. If the engines blow up, they don't matter. That tank is still pretty full. That's good news. I guess I have applied the wrong ratio. Like Apollo, there is an OK abort window where the ascent stage can abort to orbit if descent goes poorly. I mean, yeah. Am I going to recognize what that window is in time to do anything about it? Probably not. but I'm assuming there is one in there somewhere. I mean, like right now, we would probably be fine if we had to abort. In the next couple of minutes or so, probably not. Alright, we got 3 minutes of runtime. I'm going to fire the engines again at 55 kilometers. Unless anybody has any better advice. Yeah, picking up speed, but not very quickly picking up speed. That's the good news. Coming up on 55 kilometer. I don't think that measly 800 meters per second is going to buy us any favors. Whoa there, buddy. Okay, yeah, the weight difference between the lab and the other stuff is starting to really show. This is... Oh, yeah, because we have this thing, which is not accounted for in the weight balance, but I guess we're starting to get light enough to where these things are making a difference, but the engine's pushed so far to the perimeter, it's relatively easy to wrestle back into control. It just requires a constant monitoring. Yeah, falling very, very fast now. Okay. 44 kilometers. Okay, come on. Alright, let's just tell you to point retrograde. We'll get in there. Dial it in a little bit better. And punch it. Stay put, please. Okay. Please, 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 slow down enough. Alright, one chute has gone red. Oh. The rest of these are Kevlar. That one might still be silk if I forgot to update its thing. The wheel's turning. I know. It'd be rather funny if you'd hit prograde on accident. Funny for whom, Wookie? Everyone. I would laugh. That would be quite funny. Alright, maybe we can actually do this. And I'm gonna... We'll recheck the Delta V figures when I get back, or if we hit the surface, but I don't feel bad about sacrificing a little extra fuel to see if we can't bring this within margin. 30 kilometers. I think most chutes are primed to go at... Oh, Olympus Mons. Seriously? Alright, I don't see anything that resembles a mountain that we're going to pile into, but I guess we're also trying to go down, but... we passed it. Alas Marinarius. Hopefully we'll get good and low. All chutes still yellow. 1800 meters per second. We're coming up on not being in the retrograde vector, homie. Come on. Alright, we're gonna stop wasting fuel. Nope. Starting to deviate even harder. Well, that's not fun. 18 kilometers. Oh, all chutes are red. That's not good. Man, how slow do we have to be? We're only going to get down to about 1500 meters per second before we run out of gas. Snap, snap, snap. There go the drogue chutes. Snap, snap, snap. That's all of them except for the emergency primaries that come in much, much lower, but I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. 1,500 meters per second, 5 kilometers off the deck. All chutes still red. Only 109 meters per second, and snap. All bad. Revert. VAB. Dang it. With the information gathered from that run, we'll make a couple of brief changes, including increasing our total loadout of fuel, and also changing some of the parameters on some of our parachutes, although we'll get to that briefly. We did discuss other engine options, and although currently the Asterisk 2 is our very best option, and we actually needed to add another solar panel, as we figured out earlier on, but I think I forgot to do it this time through. But anyway, we're still trying to figure out a solid parachute configuration or deployment method that will work well. We also need to time our engine burn very, very specifically. I would very much like to test these landers and other things on the surface, but, you know, got to figure out the landing first. And then we got to figure out how to get it there, which might be the bigger problem here. Anyway, here's old me. I guess I just need to know what altitude I lit the engines. And if you guys could keep it, just clearly DNA8. Note to chat. Okay, I will try to do that. That would be super helpful. All right. So let's arm RCS, arm stability control, get ourselves facing fuel mixture. Note to chat. Remind me to add solar panels, rebalance fuel, steam self-starter. Come on. To do blank. What altitude to light engines? And see, Wookie, this is what amazes me, is you built this absolutely gorgeous, amazing space shuttle for RSS, and you've never thrown anything outside Kerbal SOI. I'll never understand you. To do update Steam. Thank you, Pulsified. And thank you, Niman. Solar panels, rebalance fuel. I will still forget. Stage in engines. Okay. Let's get a periapsis dialed in. I'm going to shoot for 70 kilometers. Might not even pull us out of orbit. But that's when our parachute will go, so I guess it doesn't matter. Did I set the thing for 70? I did, didn't I? Yeah. Alright, periapsis 53 kilometer. Technically, you just updated an existing design? Oh, no, dude. No, that's not even a little bit true. The only part you didn't change was, like, the hull. So, I mean, you redid the wing structure, you redid the EFT, you redid the boosters, all the wings. All the wings. Fuel, cargo, like, it's a new spacecraft now. I agree, Niman. You did do an amazing job. Alright, let's go hit Atmo. It's going to be way, way around, so we're going to have to readjust, but I'll take care of that. Not connected. Local control. Okay, wow, we're going to be way under. I don't want to have to adjust that much while in an atmosphere. We'll just see some Z fighting. Why not? It's so new you're advocating for a new name, or at least Shuriken 2. I mean, I guess technically it would be the Mark 6 K variant, because he did build another Mark 6 that's all cargo. Not happy with the yaw stability. Odd attitude aboard since it seems to find a stable position that isn't at all forward. Interesting. I mean, does FAR tell you that something is just plain off? And is it something that dumping fuel forward to get the nose down doesn't just correct? Sure, who can block too? Well, I mean, it's Wookiee's craft, so I will let him decide on a name if he wants to take suggestions or anything like that. I'm sure he'd be willing to at least hear you out. The tails are a little too close to the center of mass, so they're not giving you very much torque. Interesting. I mean, I guess you know the overly simplistic answer I'm going to say is, well, then shift them backwards, but that's up to you. Find that nice blend. And yeah, if you want to take name suggestions, man, that's up to you. Or, I mean, really, however you deliver it and with whatever name you decide to give it, that's what we'll go with. I guess, yeah, contractor builds are the only time where I will usurp the YouTube naming convention. So if a contractor wants to name something and once it named that, then I'm totally willing to abide. You're great with coming up with bad names. I mean, entirely your prerogative, Wookie. I'm terrible even at naming things badly, so at least you got that going for you. Ka-thunk. Alright. Does anybody remember what altitude I set that drag chute for just now? It was deploy at 70, full deploy at 60, right? Did I arm the chutes? I don't... Nope. Chute's armed, okay. Yeah. Landing prep, bags out. And let's ride it in. It all shoots yellow, so I really wonder if that drag chute will hold if we sail right past 70 kilometers before lighting the engine. Does anybody remember at what altitude we lit the engines last time? Wasn't it like 80 something kilometer? I'm not sure I remember either. Alright. Real key to successful Mars EDL is having the power to bend the laws of physics to your will so they don't hurt your ship. Yes. What engine does that? And say, at least we're not picking up speed very quickly. Although we are dumping a lot of fuel out these RCS ports. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Alright, well, I'm going to make note. I'm going to fire the engines at 80 kilometers. And see if we can't get a successful deploy on our initial drogue chute. See how well it translates into anything else. I guess the fact that we're not accelerating very quickly is okay-ish. Still 3.2 kilometers per second. Falling not so fastly. Also, I'm pretty sure... Well, no, because we're going to get down to 50 before. This might make a decent Aero pass. I don't know if it would deorbit us on its own. Alright, 79 kilometers. Let's get into retrograde, light the engines. Vapor and feed lines. Excellent. Can we even ullage something this heavy with RCS? I guess we're not subject to enough drag yet. Okay, scratch that previous note. We have to wait until we've got enough aero force. Oh, we can slow down on RCS. I mean, if only a little bit. It's not enough to ullage the engines, though. That's interesting. So I wonder if that parachute coming out will ullage our engines for us, or if it will just snap, because it's under caution. It's not cleared. I also wonder if increasing the size of the parachute increases its strength factor. Fedora Hat Gaming, how's it going? Thanks for coming out. Also, now the belly pan and the main wing are separate, and you need to go back through and make all the wing parts on the belly pan as thin as possible, since they're technically just ornamental. Ah. I mean, I don't really think you need to save the mass on that, though, Wookie. Added quite a bit of weight for no actual game. Well, yes, but I think the engines you're using are actually very overpowered for the project, so I'm not sure it's technically necessary. Good, how about you? Hanging in there. Trying to get this base on the ground, preferably in one piece, at a reasonable speed, but it's not going particularly well, but this is just our second test simulation. We're just trying to figure out the technique for doing it. Hanging in there is the actual answer. Exhausted, tired all the time. Well, c'est la vie. Okay, have our engines not... Nope, engines not ullaged. I mean to reduce the landing weight mainly. Reduce stall speed, etc. Okay, those are fair points. Okay, down to 72 kilometers. Still not enough. How did these things get ullaged in last time? Did we just like pivot a bunch and that worked? We could rotate, maybe? I would really like to put some fuel out the back here very soon, please, and thank you. Yes! Okay, now, if you could point to retrograde. We fired the engines at 73 kilometers. Someone please make a note. 73 kilometers. Let's not overdo it with the torque. I wonder how many molecules of air are actually hitting you per second at this altitude. C'est la vie. It's how you got through preparing for your final year exams. That's whoa! Okay, in your face parachutes. Come on, hold. 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 Dang it! Lost them. Did they do any braking for us whatsoever? Did anybody pay attention to our speed during that? Yeah, so that's how I get through pretty much any exam period. Is like, well, maybe I'll pass this. Too thin to register as anything but ultra-precise instruments, but still trillions of molecules. No, that is the correct note. 73 kilometers ignition. Don't think it did much. Yeah. See, I think had we been able to fire the engines at 80 kilometers like I wanted to, maybe those chutes would have been able to stick around and do some good for us. I don't think they did. So, now I'll just try to keep track of if we start climbing. That's a good way for us to reduce speed without spending any fuel, provided, of course, that I remember to turn the engines off. Alright. Zeroed. Climbing. How long until apogee? Let's push that out to 30 seconds. Look at altitude true. That's the figure I'm going with. Alright, and we'll just wait until we start descending and then light these engines again. All this energy spent going back up, we're sure not shedding too much speed with it. Well, there was 1/10 of a meter per second. Totally worth it. Yeah, it's probably true, Wookie, that we're going to have to actually try to target our landing zone. The problem is I'm really bad at targeting landing zones. I guess with something this heavy and as all engine as it's going to be, then that might be our only choice. Alright, let's push the apoapsis out to 30 seconds again. Maybe we can do this hop-skip style. Oh, come on, just stay on target, buddy. 30 seconds, shut down. Playing KSP RO, you have a launch abort system, abort modes for every part of a mission, and big margins for Delta V and life support. Before exam, maybe I'll pass this. I mean, I don't have abort modes for everything, but that almost as perfectly describes me. I kind of studied. I mean, I looked over pictures of somebody else's notes before I walked to class today. Is this thing going to have propulsive orbital capture? Does it need to be hyperbolic EDL? I'm hoping to do a propulsive capture because trying to put 200 tons through Mars' atmosphere and get any significant aero capture braking off of it is probably not going to be a thing. Even Artemis 4 was like, what was that, 98 tons when it hit Mars? And we still had to put like 1,400 meters per second out the back of that thing to capture. And it was really, really now I can't think of the word. Hyperbolic orbit? Eccentric? Yeah, it was way out there. It had to do many, many, many aero braking passes after that capture before it could make another like 300 meter per second burn to line up its orbit with Harmonia at any point. So trying to do that with 200 tons, I just don't think is going to be a thing. Alright, push the apogee, apsis, certainly not an apogee, out to 30 seconds, and then we'll wait some more. I don't even know if this is a very effective method for what I'm trying to do versus just going straight for Vern. So if somebody who's good at math wants to advise me if this is a Vunk strategy and I should stop now, please do so. Yeah, it's taking us longer and longer to hit that 30-second time to app. Oh, well, that might be because our angle keeps changing also. 30 seconds shut down. let's see if we can't just aim straight for retrograde. So what if you put a steampunk propeller on the bottom and add thrust once you're in atmosphere? Like a Rototron with a bunch of fins on it? I mean, really, at this point, I'd be willing to try. I would absolutely be willing to try it. I really wonder how much thrust we can generate with this stupid Rototron propeller. Well, we're falling a little, and I guess the atmosphere is dense enough to keep us from accelerating? That's very interesting. I considered Rototron style descent before, but figured the Kraken wouldn't like it. Yeah, I've actually tried to make a Rototron propeller, thinking about doing something like that for a Titan mission. All I ended up doing was spinning things to pieces. Alright, what's our runtime? Still 6 minutes of runtime. So, alright, what's our consensus? Burn for broke or keep doing this hop skip thing? Whoa. That was quite a torque you visited there, Sonny. Alright, yeah, 20 degrees pitch is all I'm really willing to put up with. Is there fuel in here? No, there shouldn't be fuel in either of these, to be honest. Yeah, okay, good. I should probably take 1 year of life support out of the tanks, because that will be a more accurate representation of our weight upon arrival. The Kraken would love it. Love to destroy it. It's so true. $2,700 meters per second. $1,300. Yeah, we'll keep pitch up just a little bit. More time flying is more time slowing down, I think. I hope. I mean, not at this altitude, but at some point. Perhaps. It still feels like we're way too high up for this much burn. And yeah, watching the speed tick down as slowly as it is. I mean, we're 0.90 thrust to weight. You'd think that we'd be decelerating a bit quicker, but we're not. At 68 kilometers actual, 2,600 meters per second. Struggling to stay on target. You missed the last few minutes since an absurd suggestion. I was debating if we should keep doing this skip jump thing or just burn for broke and try to get this thing on the ground, but it looks like gravity has made that decision for us, as maintaining around 20 degrees pitch angle is not causing us to climb in altitude anymore. Or yet, I should say. I don't know. So we're just going to keep at it and hope for the best. But it looks like we're burning for broke. Although I kind of think that this means we're going to run out of fuel and be at like 50 kilometers altitude. And have no way of keeping ourselves slow enough to not... to keep our chutes attached. Basically. I say quick save doesn't work in simulations. So it's basically restart the sim, and that's, oh, come on, what are you doing? Alright, no more eyes off the nav ball ever again. Yeah, so I tried the quick save, quick load when I was doing the resupply slug target practice testing. It does not work, unfortunately. Alright, come on, atmosphere. Do us some kind of favor. Yeah, see, that's a fairly large discrepancy in our Aerozine N2O quantity. Alright, let's just dial you into retrograde. I almost clicked prograde there, Wookie. Human person, how's it going? Good to see you. Thank you for coming out. Oh boy. Just one test. I would like to get this thing on the ground in some kind of safe-ish manner. All shoot's still yellow, but we are still at 64 kilometers altitude. I think we're going to be out of fuel long before we get low enough to see these things deploy. Which means this method is, atmosphere isn't going to do anything. It's done a little bit. We're actually at a little bit higher. We're at 63 kilometers in our actual altitude. But we held an angle and we actually stopped accelerating while falling. So it's doing something. We weren't subject to pure gravity. Yeah, not falling quite as quickly as I'd like to be falling, I guess. Hmm. Two minutes, 40 seconds of runtime. Yeah, I'm still really nervous, although I'm 100% convinced that this is not going to work. Like 100%. This is going to end, I mean, it would end in explosions, but we're not going to go that far. So I guess if we were throwing chutes out the door right now, we might have some kind of success. So maybe I'll set 1 or 2 to deploy at 65 or 60. Well, actual altitude is 56 kilometers. So maybe I'll set something to deploy at 60 kilometers. I wonder how long you'd have to get before you're decelerating on Aero alone. Just like pancake drag, not with chutes. So I don't know if Mars's atmosphere is actually thick enough to give you a meaningful deceleration at any altitude. I mean, really it depends on your mass, but something this... I don't know, that's why I was going for like the nice, massively round, flat surface, is to create as much drag as possible. 50 kilometers, 400 meters per second left in the tank. Yeah, even at full bore, if the engines ran out of fuel just as the parachutes were going off, I think we'd still be too slow. Depends on your mass surface area ratio. Might not be too bad for this craft. I mean, hoping that this thing comes in at right at about 200 tons. So I don't know how much surface area we'd need to get meaningful drag off of 200 tons. Got the engines. I'm very much thinking about it, but I think honestly, even if we let them run, even if it was timed perfectly to where we crossed our altitude threshold just as the fuel was running out, we'd still be going too fast for these chutes to deploy safely. I think. Yeah, we'll give it a try, why not? So we'll get down to, yeah, we're picking up speed. Of course we are. If you could hold retrograde, that'd be great. 25 kilometers, hold the retrograde, fire the engines. Chutes are yellow though, that's better than they were last time. We were red across the board the last time we crossed into this threshold. 30 seconds of fuel remaining. Come on, come on. Can we get any one single chute that wants to go ahead? Oh, our silk ones just went red. 16 kilometers, 1500 meters per second. Oh, this might be close. 15? I thought I had one set to go off at 15. I guess no, I think 12 is our first cutoff. 14 seconds of fuel. Come on. There we go. Shoots. Hold, 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 hold. Please, please. Nope. Snap. More shoots. Oh, snap. Out of fuel. We'll just see what happens on the emergency shoots. I don't think it's going to go very well. Snap, snap, snap. And that's all she wrote. Revert VAB. And back once again to the VAB, where we will, of course, be making some further changes, including adaptations to the parachute. But it was checking our fuel mixtures that we discovered that we actually have a combination of Asterisk 1 and Asterisk 2 engines on this. And they should all really be the Asterisk 2, which is a little heavier, but a little bit more efficient. Had better ISP and better thrust numbers, which could make the difference in actually getting this thing to land correctly. We're also going to try yet another configuration with parachute deployment and try a few other tips and tricks here and there. But unfortunately, we did run out of time after that second test run, and we'll have to basically let this thing wait for future testing until the next episode. We did have to reload it because KSP went all cattywampus on us, but no big deal there. We got it all figured out. But anyway, that's going to do it for this recap, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it, and I will see all of you in the next one. So until then, see you later.